all right. My name is Chris Schmidl. I have decided to share my childhood that I went through. Just first of all, let everybody know that today I'm married, I'm a homeowner, I own a Silverado pickup truck. My marriage is fantastic. I've been married for 6 years now. I'm a believer in Christ. I accepted Christ when I was 16. I have a very, very good reference of Bible doctrine from years and years of Bible studies. I did martial arts training. I'll get into that later, my adult life. But I'd like to get started by just sharing when I was a kid, the struggles, the real life that I experienced. If you're interested in hearing it, suggest you have a seat. Because it wasn't the most pleasant ride. So, first of all, we're going to start when I was 8 years old. My mother and I had just hitchhiked all the way from Atlanta, Georgia to Santa Cruz, California. I remember that trip from Atlanta, Georgia to somewhere in Texas. We were with the same people in a little minivan. They were a bunch of hippies. This was in 1979, I'm going to say. So I was born in 71, so I was 8. That should have been in 1979. When we got to Texas, we were on the side of the road hitching, and a semi-truck picked us up and took us all the way to Santa Cruz, California. And I remember getting out of the semi-truck and being on the beach. That's where we got dropped off, was right there in front of Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. And me and my mother were homeless there. I don't know exactly how long, but I do remember the Hare Krishnas took us in and fed us and very, very good to us. If you don't know what a Hare Krishna is, Google that. They're a very unique group of people. I think there's some kind of religious group of people that goes along with that, but they had bald heads, little ponytails sticking out the back. They wore like togas and robes. They were not your normal, typical group of people. Now, with that being said, you can say what you want about them, but at this point in time in my life, they took us in, they fed us, and I have good memories from that. From there, my mother just reached a point where she thought it was best to take me somewhere while she got on her feet, and then she would come back to get me. This is the most horrifying thing. It's the most horrifying moment of my life. She took me to the Santa Clara County Children's Shelter. Now, there's a Facebook group It's called 1440 Roberts Avenue. I am a member of that group. That's the address of the children's shelter that the kids that were in there can link back together and talk. Because of that group, I was able to talk to somebody that was very important to me at the children's shelter. His name is Bill Ross. He is a Korean guy, and at the time he was a green belt in karate. Now, I'm not going to use a lot of people's last names, but this guy, I don't think he would mind the reference to him. He was probably my best friend I had in there, because I turned 18 in the children's shelter. So from the time I was 8 years old to 18 years old, here's a quick reference of what we're going to be going through here. I was in the children's shelter 15 times, separate times in and out. I was in 3 foster homes. I was in 2 group homes. I lived with my sister, Valerie, at least 2 times, maybe 3 before, while I was still under 18. And I lived with my mom several times. And the timeline for all of this is very cloudy in my head. But I'm going to try and give a quick reference in the best that I can with the order of events. But yeah, 15 times in and out of that damn place. Now, the children's shelter, if you were a kid that was just ripped from your parents, represented failure. It represented pain. It represented that it was horrifying. Absolutely horrifying to go to that place, because you're getting ripped from your family. And for me, it was my mom. I didn't give a shit if we were homeless, where we were at. I was a very happy kid, just long as we were together, that was it. And oh my God, to go there, horrifying, emotionally. Now, on the flip side of that, I have drawn a diagram here. This is a diagram of the children's shelter itself. So from here is Roberts Avenue. Here's the parking lot when you pull in. You park here. These are supposed to be cars. Hope you can see this okay. Here's the most horrifying experience, is walking from this parking lot to the front door. And then from the front door, the front desk is right here. Now, for me, I remember this day like it was yesterday. Let's see, I'm 52. This happened when I was 8 years old. This was 44 years ago. I remember this day like yesterday. The front door was a huge wooden door with no windows. you go into the place, and here's the desk. There's a receptionist there. And I tell you, you would think that the reception people here would be a little more sensitive to the situation that's occurring. But this woman was cold as ice. Very, very frightening, this lady that did the intake for me, my very first time into the children's shelter. So we came in here, and then we sat like over here, and this circle here was an area that was filled with benches, tables. There's pool tables, there's ping pong tables right here. This inner circle was a visiting area. I believe this very center part right here, the building was actually pretty cool. It's a big round circle. This is the actual building here of the children's shelter. The center was outside. There's a door right here that went outside into the center, and there was plants out there. I don't remember if there was a bench to sit on or anything, but the center of the building was outside. You could see up into the sky from right here. It's very cool, actually. So we came in, I sat here, we did the intake, and then they told my mom she had to leave and that they had me from this point. So right here, I'm standing here at this desk. And a very, very, very tall black guy named Todd was the counselor on shift at the time that I came in. And I remember he was very tall. I was just like, holy crap, who is this guy? You know, because he is very tall. Now, I was scared to death. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know where he's going to take me. I didn't know nothing except I had to follow this guy. So, quick rundown of the actual building so I can put this back down. This is the mess hall, cafeteria, the clinic. Now, they were called units. You had infants. Then you had senior boys, intermediate boys, junior boys, senior girls, intermediate girls, and junior girls. Now, intermediate and the seniors, we had rec rooms that were attached to our units. Now, if you've ever seen a military basic training unit, how there's beds lined up down the sides and everybody has a locker, that's how the children's shelter was. There's windows out here. The desk was in the middle where the counselors would come in. And there was 2 shifts, morning shift and afternoon shift. And then during the shift change, we'd all have to sit on our bunks. Interesting thing about that is that the children's shelter had levels that you could achieve to be on different levels based upon your behavior. So at the end of each shift, in the morning and the evening, we would all sit down and the counselors would go through every single person sitting on their bunks. And you'd have to give an evaluation of how your day went. Do you deserve a 0 or a 4? Or anything in between, and you had to explain to the counselor how your behavior reflected the score that you give yourself, and then the counselor will either agree or disagree with you, and then mark it down on the paperwork, and you could achieve different levels. There was level 0 through 4. When you come in, you're on level 2. To maintain a level 2, you have to maintain 3s all week. It was a weekly thing. At the end of the week on Sundays, you would either maintain where you were at or you would change a level. Either drop down uh, or you go up a level. So you say, today the new kid came in, and what I did today, I went and assisted him getting his clothing. I showed him around. I showed him how to make the bed properly. I showed him where the school's at. I was on time to school today. My bed's made. My locker's clean. I did some extra cleaning in the bathroom today. I believe I earned a 4. That's just an example of what it was like to give an account for your day there. Pretty cool. It was motivating to be on the different levels, because the different levels came with different privileges. But back to this. So you got the units, intermediate girls, senior girls, have the rec rooms like I was saying. Now these rec rooms, wow, the rec rooms were fantastic. Once you got through the emotional pain of going into this place, it was pretty cool. The place itself was pretty awesome. In these rec rooms that we had, there were pool tables, ping pong tables, foosball tables. There was volunteers, just people from the community that would come in to spend time with us, and we would sit at tables and we learned how to play cards with them. There was video games in there. Oh my God, there was a period of 8 months straight that I was the foosball champion. I don't remember which visit it was that I was in there, but I was the foosball champion for 8 months straight. I remember that. So the rec rooms were absolutely amazing. They were really cool as far as that goes. So all of the different units, junior boys, intermediate boys, senior boys, all based upon your ages. So like I said, here's the walkway coming in. This is the building. All of this is outside of the building. This is the playgrounds where they had the swings and the tan bark, slides, merry-go-rounds, all of that kind of stuff was right here. They had their own school. I hope you can see over here. They had the children's shelter had their own on-site school with different grades. That was pretty cool. This area here was a big grassy field where we would play soccer and football, frisbee. I mean, during the day, it was a free-for-all. You could do anything you wanted to do. If you wanted to hang out in the rec room all day, you could do that. If you wanted to come out here and play outside all day, you could do that. You could play on the playgrounds. Right here was a volleyball court. I played a lot of volleyball as a teenager in the children's shelter. When I was in there, I was playing volleyball. That was my thing. Volleyball, foosball, and shooting pool was something I did a lot of. So this out here are streets. This facility of the children's shelter took up an entire city block. I mean, that's how big this was. So if you want to pause the video, hopefully you can get a good view of that there. Alright, so I'm going to put that back up for now. So before you go to a foster home, you have to get processed into that children's shelter, and then you get a social worker assigned to you. I remember my social worker's name was Frank Neves. I think I had several social workers. At least 3 or 4 of them, but Frank Neves, Uh, wow, I believe I heard somewhere that he passed away, but if you're still alive and you happen to see this video, thank you. Thank you for being there for me. And there was not one social worker that I can actually remember that I didn't like. So thank you to the social workers that come in, and their job is not only to process you in between the children's shelter and the foster homes or group homes, but to be your friend, to talk to you about real things when they come to visit you. If you didn't have family, like a majority of the kids that come through there didn't have families. That's why they're there. The social worker was your best friend. He was your ally in life. He or her was a big deal. So yeah. So anyways, I was processed in there, and I remember it took me a while to feel comfortable, but with all the other kids in there, your age, older, younger, everyone's running around a free-for-all, doing anything you want, playing games, you're meeting, kids your own age, you're hanging out, you're making friends. That part of the children's shelter was pretty cool. I had made tons of friends. I had some pretty bitter enemies in there. Sam, I'm not going to say your last night, but you know who you are if you know who I am. Me and Sam used to brawl. We would be fighting like you wouldn't believe. This Sam, he knew how to box, and he used to beat me up real good, but damn it, I learned how to fight back and tackle him. Oh my God. Me and Sam used to brawl in there. We got in all kinds of trouble fighting in there, slamming each other into lockers, throwing each other around, hitting each other, punching each other in the face. Yeah. Me and Sam would go at it, and I mean, it was regular. We had to be kept apart, literally separated, if at all possible, because we just did not like each other. Then there's another guy named Robert. You know who you are, because we were in a car crash together. Yes, that's the Robert I'm talking about, if you happen to be watching this. Robert was much older than me. He was much taller, and he was pretty built. I mean, he worked out. He wasn't an Arnold Schwarzenegger or nothing, but he was muscular. And he hated me. I don't know what I ever did to that kid to make him hate me the way he did, but it was like Johnny Lawrence hating Daniel LaRusso on the Karate Kid. I mean, he hated me like that he just hated me. Oh my God. He had beat me up more times than I can count a stick. I mean, it was to the point where if I was in the children's shelter and Robert Anderson was being readmitted coming in, people would come to me and be like, Chris, yo, Robert's back. And we'd like have to come up with some kind of game plan to keep me safe from Robert. I mean, that's how it was with him. Sam, we were about the same size. We we didn't really hurt each other when we fought. I mean, we'd get scrapes or a black eye or a busted lip. Uh, Maybe the wind knocked out of us. Just basic stuff. Robert would hurt me when he would beat me up. Man, he would catch me alone and he'd put a beating on me. It was not funny to get beat up by Robert. So yeah, there was that. Who else? Oh, I had mentioned Bill Ross. Bill Ross finally got Robert to quit beating me up. And I gotta tell you, it was a big deal. It was a big deal. All right, I don't know how I got off on all that. What else? Okay, so let's go back to some of the intake here. When you come in, you have what's called your personals. They're all put in a box and they're stored somewhere in the building. And the children's shelter provides you with their clothing that you're supposed to wear, kind of like being in jail. You got to wear their shoes. You got to wear their pants, their underwear, their socks, their shirts, unless you get to level 4. if you would get to level 4 in the children's shelter, guess what? You get all your personals in your bedside locker. You can wear your shoes, your fancy clothes if you got them, your necklaces, bracelets. I mean, level 4 was a big deal in there. So yeah, there was that. So that's a basic introduction to the children's shelter. What it was like going in there. So my first foster home, I remember there was an older sister in there. I really cannot put faces on anyone in that foster home except for Brandon. Brandon was also a foster kid that was in that foster home. We had seen each other in and out later in life, in the children's shelter, passing each other, and we always considered ourselves brothers because we were brothers in that very first children's shelter, or foster home rather, and I believe that was somewhere between the age of 8 and 10, I think, somewhere in there. So we were pretty close to the same age. I remember there was me and Brandon. There was an older sister. I remember her being very pretty. I do remember her. She had long, wavy brown hair. She was an absolute horrible, miserable, mean person, but man, was she pretty. I do remember her. I remember one time at the dinner table, I had done something, and she stabbed my hand with a metal fork. And I mean, it bled. She stabbed it. She's like, ah! Oh my God. That was absolutely horrifying. These kind of things happen in foster homes, and 90% of the time they go unchecked. Nothing happens. You have to learn to adapt, to protect yourself. You got to be smart. To be in the foster care system, you really got to look out for yourself, because there's so many things that happen there that there's just no one there to protect you. So there's a lot of people that come out of the system that are messed up and have this hyper aggressive attitude towards people, and that's why from having to deal with so much punishment and pain, and injustices in your life as a kid, man. This shit ain't funny. Uh, it leaves a real impact on you. So back to the foster home. I don't remember why I left that foster home, but that was my very first one. I do remember their last name. I'm not going to say it here. But thank you to the parents in that foster home for taking the time that you did to care for me. I doubt this message will ever get directly back to you. I don't even know if you're still alive. But thank you. I gotta at least express to the viewers watching that I appreciate that time that you did take care of me there. So from there, it's back to the children's shelter. For whatever reason, if it doesn't work in one children's shelter, as a foster kid now, you can go to your social worker and say, I want out of here. And your social worker, if they're on their job, will pull you out immediately when you tell them that you want to go, that you don't want to be here, that you're scared, there's things they're doing to you you're not happy about, they're hurting you, they're scaring you. Here's a situation that in that very first foster home, my mother had raised me as a vegetarian. They force-fed me to eat spaghetti meat. It was another absolutely horrifying moment of my life. I had to sit there at that table. The foster mom was there beating on the table. You will eat this meat. You're not getting up from the table until you eat this. I'm crying. I'm like, I don't eat meat. You know this. Blah, blah, blah. It was absolutely horrifying. I ended up eating the meat. What can you do? What can you do? I went to my social worker and I told him I wanted out of there. I remember that now. Absolutely horrifying experience. So back to the children's shelter. When you go there, like I said, you come in the door, it's a representation of failure. Once you get back in there and you see your friends that you had made, the population of the children's shelter was very inconsistent. There was a few kids that were in and out like I was, and we knew each other because we would see each other in passing. But generally speaking, if you left and you came back, there's a whole new group of people in there. The kids are a completely new group, new social circles, new cliques. The whole thing, it's like starting over again. So there was that. See. Then my second foster home, it was on a ranch, a horse ranch. Absolutely a horrifying experience for me here. I shared a room with their natural son, their biological son. I shared a room with him, and there was the father who was a hardcore, no BS cowboy, horse wrangler, breeder, trainer. There was an older brother who was an absolute idiot. There was an older girl in there, an older sister. And the kid was, I'm gonna say we were about the same age that I shared the room with. Uh, so I don't remember a whole lot there, but I remember this experience. I didn't ever get enough to eat at this place. It was like they rationed you food. And I was always hungry after dinner. I was still hungry. And there was one night I was so hungry, I snuck out into the kitchen and I got like 4 or 5 pieces of bread. And I brought it back to my bedroom, and I'm in my bed under my covers. I'm eating this bread. I'm just so happy because I'm just so hungry and I'm eating this bread. The kid went and told the mother that I was stealing from them and that I'm in there stealing food and eating food. So the mother comes in, rips the blankets off of me. I'm sitting there with the bread in my hand, still eating this bread. And she rips the bread away from me. You give me that bread back. And she took the bread away from me. And she yelled at me and cursed at me that I was stealing their food. And then the kid, the brother, he gets back into his bed, and I'm sitting there, I'm crying. I am scared to death of this woman. I'm crying, I'm hungry. I don't want to be in this foster home anymore, and I'm pissed that this idiot jerk kid right here went and told on me. So he's sitting over there in the bed. He's like, you ain't gonna steal from us no more, are you? I don't by any stretch condone what I did, but I went over there and I gave that kid a beating that Robert would give me. I put a beating on him. I must have hit him in his face 10 to 15 times. I hit him in his body. I put a beating on that kid. I was not happy. I was hungry. I was pissed. And I put a beating on him. Needless to say, he gets up. He runs out of the room and tells the father. The father comes in to the room, rips me out of the bed with both hands and throws me on the floor and begins stomping on me with his feet. And I'm like this, trying to just protect myself, and I am catching stomps from him all over the place. Absolutely one of the worst nights of my life. And so, needless to say, I called my social worker. I said, I got to get out of here. This place sucks. And to the best of my recollection, I told my social worker what happened, and if I remember correctly, I believe they lost their license over that incident. So there's that one. So guess what? Back to the children's shelter. Oh man. Well, I'm gonna wrap this episode. I'm gonna stop right here. I'm just gonna recompose myself. But I enjoy getting this out. I enjoy talking about it. I enjoy sharing my life. I've always been an open book. Any people that have known me through my life, either as friends or family, there's 2 things that they know about me. Number 1, I'm honest to a fault, and I'm an open book that I share. I have no problem sharing just who I am, what I've been through, and what I want to do in life. So, like I said, I will continue this dialogue and continue to share, but I'm going to wrap it up for now. I hope you enjoyed me sharing this with you.